All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. As always, greetings and salutations. Let me tell you what we're up to today. We are going to make a phone call to a Keystone, Montana rep himself, and we're going to get some answers regarding frame flex, frame failure, 2025 models going forward. I want to know what kind of changes they're making, and I've been having trouble getting straight answers. So, a dealership here in Minnesota agreed to have a factory rep from Montana call me. So bear with me. We're going to get him on the phone.
I can help you.
Hey,
Frame flex has been around for way longer than it's been blown up since roughly 21, 22, 23 when things really started kind of getting out of hand a little bit with some of our competitors. And we have been, when it got blown up, it became it's kind of like when you tell somebody not to focus on the red dot.
yeah.
You know, like then all of a sudden that's all everybody is seeing and focusing on. So frame flex has been something that's just it has been a little bit of an issue, but it got blown up because there were some major issues that ended up happening, like I said, with our competitors, and then it ended up blowing up. Some of the competitors are just not stuck to those guidelines, so that Lippert is kind of rightfully so saying, hey, this is on you, this isn't on us. We told you to do it this way. So one of the things that we've got that nobody else can use is our max turn technology, and that has to do with that front bar in the frame. It actually is a one-piece bar that we have bent and curved around. That's a patent that we have. So everybody else, when they're trying to follow the curve on any of them that have got a little bit of a larger front part of that front, the fifth wheel, they have to put a weld and then put that weld at an angle and then have a straight bar going across, then have the angle back over and then go down. So they can't do the bend because that's something we have as a patent, which does help to be able to distribute some of that energy when stuff is flexed. It gives a little bit of more strength all the way across having a solid bar. But once these things got blown up, we said we really want to do everything we possibly can to be able to keep ourselves off of this radar and really minimize this. Historically, a lot of the times when you did have frame flex before it got blown up because of other competitors not necessarily following the Lippert guidelines, the big thing was normally just, axle placement. We got to move it here. We got to move it there. You'd have a batch of them where you have some problems and you didn't really necessarily realize you were going to have quite as many tweaks. You get in real life scenarios, you find out, okay, it's not really holding up. We're going to have to, move these axles forward or backwards or adjust the weight someplace or possibly even with our frames, have it reconfigured to the place where we're beef up a certain area, add a gusset, add a thicker beam someplace or connector, add an additional support beam, just different things that we might do. But normally that would be something where it's like, okay, this particular floor plan and the weights on that one is where the issue is. A lot of our competitors also don't use individual frames specifically for every single floor plan. They'll use a standardized frame and then just cut it to length. And every one of the frames that we're using is specifically for every single floor plan. But the things that we changed in 2023 and added is up towards the front and our sidewalls. When we're laminating those in, we ended up going from just a single 3x2 tube at the bottom to the base to doubling that up. And actually, in certain situations, I just recently saw when I was walking through the plant doing a tour, there's even a couple of them that have got triple bars that are going all the way across where we have got the space in there, and they filled them with wood now. Before they were just the hollow tube aluminums like most of the laminates are, but we went ahead and we filled them with wood, again, to be able to help to distribute some of that flex and give just a little bit more structure up in the front. And then the other thing that we've also done is we added supporting gussets on key points in that front area to be able to just increase the strength on the angles and, again, limit some of the flex there. The last thing is in between 22 and 23, I believe is when we did it. We switched away from the Schwintek slides, which are the ones that have got kind of the zigzags, and they've got 4 motors on the inside, and we went to cable-driven ones. However, the cable-driven ones, even though statistically they have the lowest warranty claim in the industry, where you do see the warranty claims a lot of times has to do with the pulleys where they're rolling and then they end up having to go off to the side pulley, and then it comes back around and goes around the corner and it goes to the normally would have on the Schwintex, and we made it to where now it gives you less pulleys, less contact points in there, and then you've got those individual motors there, but also it makes it to the place where we have more interior room in our slide outs. The other benefit to that, and this was really the big thing as it applies to the frame flex, is with the Schwintex, there's a screw that goes right down to that bottom corner on each one of those motors, and that screw that goes through where it's going kind of like horizontally rather than vertically, it's kind of going in towards from the outside in towards the inside is where you're screwing into it. That part right there, we've noticed when we did see cracks coming from frame flex or something that would happen, it was from a lot of times that weak point where we had just put that screw. So the screw mounts the other way where I guess it's still horizontally, but it's going from north to south rather than east to west on the new motors that we've got with this new cable drive slide system that we had to create for us.
Does Keystone do something different that makes the problem less prevalent or less able to happen?
Yeah, all of those things, first of all, that I said, those are changes that we have made that make it better. But I will tell you that frame in the front and having that single bar going across the front, that is unique to Keystone, and that is a patent thing that we've got that the other guys can't do. And that's really right where the pin box is and where the frame flex is going to start is right there from that. So I really think a big part of the reason why we have so many less issues out there when it comes to frame flex is because of that front bar. I think that's probably a big part of it.
What do you mean by this wraparound beam or wraparound bar that you're talking about you have a patent on? Can you paint a picture for me where that is? So if I'm picturing
right at the very front. So if you're looking at a raw frame,
yep,
and
the upper deck of the superstructure, yep,
upper deck of the superstructure, the very front beam. So that our front beam is curved all the way around, kind of to match that shape that you're going to see where the front part of that fifth wheel curves.
Okay.
So that front beam is a curved beam. Everybody else is either going straight across, and they're welding it right there, going straight across, side to side with a 90-degree angle weld, or they have gotten to the place where they're taking an angle because they have to bring it out forward more, and then they're going straight off. So they're like taking a 45, and then they're going to go straight across, and then taking another 45, and then going back down. So
okay,
instead of going to the 90, they're kind of creating a 45 straight, 45, and then going back down to the side.
Got it.
So that is digital welding, and a lot of times it's just not quite as thick. I believe that ours is the side, the front beam that we've got that goes all the way around is, I'm guessing, I haven't measured it, but I'm just, from me, feeling it and grabbing it, I want to say it's probably about a 4-inch beam by 3-inch, probably wrapping all the way around, maybe 4.5 by 3.5, something like that, and it wraps all the way around. And so yeah, it's just a nice thick beam that doesn't have those additional welds. It just does a good job of distributing that energy going along the front. It's called max turn technology, and if you look up max turn technology on like YouTube, you'll definitely be able to find a video. There's one in there with our old vice president Josh Miller and one of our, I believe, lead engineers. I've seen that video out there on YouTube. So if you look up max turn technology Keystone, I think they've got one where you can actually see what it looks like.
Okay. And if I could ask you one more question, sir, that would be, I used to call it the great leg bolt debate, because when things really heated up, and I'm sure you've caught wind or heard rumblings about leg bolts. I don't know about Keystone and Montana's or Avalanche, Alpines. Is that something that, in your opinion, should be done? I mean, if you buy a Montana that's a big boy with a big frame, a drop frame, full body profile, wide body, should leg bolts go in every hole? And if so, does Montana do it?
I guess, are you talking about when we're attaching the wall to the frame?
Up in the superstructure, whether it's a front living, a front bedroom, on both sides of the rails that support the upper deck of the superstructure, Lippert pre-drills the holes from the factory for lag bolt to fasten your, whether it's Asdale or whatever kind of wall form you're using. How crucial is that? Does Montana put them in every hole, or is that just something that everybody kind of blew up, or what's your take?
No, we put them in every hole, but we've got them specifically built. Again, ours are floor plan to floor plan. On our Montanas, if you notice on the underneath side, our skirting will wrap all the way around to protect those lag bolt heads as well, to make sure that you're not getting any water going up. So it goes all the way down to the bottom part of the frame itself.
I'll be honest with you, really not impressed with how they put the TPO on the roof. A lot of concerns.
I can't say it's going to be perfect. I would love to say, yeah, no, our guys do it so much better than everybody else. We don't have a lot of warranty claims when it comes to leaking on our roofs. That's one of the things that is extremely expensive, and we know that that's a pretty big deal. And if we do end up having some warranty claims and start shooting through, we do a pretty good job of tracking where that came from and who was involved in that, and make sure that they either get the training that they need or move into a different department where they don't have to be a part of something like that.
I really, really appreciate your taking time out of your day. I know you're a busy guy, and I appreciate you putting some of my questions to bed and installing some confidence in the 2025s moving forward. And I deeply appreciate it, sir.
We're putting houses on wheels. Let's face it, it's not really a great idea.
Exactly.
And,
yep.
I mean, you're just asking for things to go wrong at times.
I've been in the game long enough to know that, even on my Cougar, I didn't even have it a week. I took it in and had independent suspension put on it and made some other improvements and stuff, just because you and I both know, like you said, they're an earthquake on wheels, and you got to do diligence and take care of your stuff and make sure that they are going to go down the road for a long time and be able to support the frame and the suspension and what you put in them. And I know that Montana, and Cougar, I know Cougar's the number one selling camper in its class, has been for a long time. And same thing with Montana. You see them everywhere. Well, we both know they wouldn't keep selling them in mass production if, people didn't like them. It just goes without saying, back in the day, we didn't buy a Pinto that would spontaneously combust on us because we knew it was a bad product. So, right? I guess I just dated myself, didn't I? Oh, man.
I know exactly where you're at, though. So that puts me right there close to you. So.
Right. You got it, my brother.
All right, man.
Thank you.
You have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, there we are. Some questions answered. I found it very interesting about the frames and how they're constructed, and got some clarity as far as who is at the bottom as far as designing RV frames, who is at the bottom of designing and building and constructing and putting those RV frames on the road. Answered a lot of questions that I had, that's for sure. Hopefully anybody watching this found some value in what we found out today. Nonetheless, got to be diligent, got to think for yourself, got to do your research, got to get that third-party inspection if you are thinking of buying a brand new unit. So, appreciate you guys tuning in. And until next time, see ya.